yeah, before I start off, I have a question for all of you. I don't know if there's this, you can, raise your hand or something like that here in Zoom. Not sure, right? So,
No,
how
there
many
is an
of you are
option.
very,
There is an option,
there is an
Meera,
option?
to raise their hand. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just to break the ice before I started, because I actually don't have slides today. It was something last minute. So just to make it a bit interactive. So how many of you think that, interview is not my cup of tea? I am very scared of interviews. Like, though I'm good with my subject, I don't think I can face the interviewers and, answer the questions when they ask me. So how many of you really think, like, let's be honest here, and we all know that all of us think like that. But how many of you are very, very scared of this process? Can I see some responses? Okay, I get in the chat saying very scared. Yes.
No
Yeah, I
responses at
know
all.
that, if there is somebody who has to raise
Yeah, just
their hand here, it has to
Lohit
be.
is honest and he's raising his hand. I hope it is for the same reason. Yes. Yes. Anybody else? Please be honest. Right. The whole reason why we are doing this is to help you out. In case you have any issues, you can always discuss. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can proceed.
So, if there's anybody who has to raise their hand first, I think it has to be me. I used to be always very, very scared of interviews. Though I used to be, involved in everything, pretty good at academics, everything. I used to be super scared of interviews. I still am, to be very honest, because interview it's a stressful process. Like, nobody will deny that. I will not tell that interview is fun, for sure. It's not at all fun in any angle. But I think the right preparations and the right attitude towards it will always make it easier to sail through it. That's what I would term it as. Just like how exams are a part and parcel of your 4-year engineering course, I think interviews are a very big part of your placement journey. So I would say, take it in the most easy way, and don't stress yourself out, because there is I know that this is the phase where everybody goes through, where there's a lot of stress, especially from college. There's a lot of stress from people around you, because you see a lot of people in the class preparing for GRE. And I know this. See, I'm speaking all of this out of personal experience. This is something that I face. So I was not preparing for GRE when I was in like fourth year, but all my friends used to prepare. And whenever the placement training starts, they'll be shouting out answers over there. Like, do you all feel the same? Like, have you experienced this? And that kind of demotivates you, right? Like, I would want one or two of you like to unmute and give me some answers, so that it's not just me like dumping out information here. Because I really want it to be interactive, so that I understand what you guys are going through and can give my perspective on that. Yeah, so I hear from someone saying, yeah, very much. So this is something very, very normal. This is something that happens to every batch, every student, and it is not what should demotivate you. So know that you are here to learn. So I've also heard that a lot of them, try to skip your placement training because you're very scared of it. So tell me something, if you're going to skip it, so how will you end up getting a job, or how will you face these processes of interview and then reach your end goal? Is it possible? That's not possible, right? So I would just say, you're all in such a good place. So know that there are colleges out there which does none of this. They don't do placement training. There are no teachers helping them out. There's nobody who is like motivating them day in and day out to go and face these interviews or make this process a bit more easier. So it's all left on the students to do it on their own. And there are colleges which doesn't even get campus interviews. You know how difficult it is for them to go out and look for jobs. Trust me, getting a job from the campus interview is the easiest of the lot. If you go out and try looking for jobs on your own, you will not be even shortlisted. that is the harsh reality outside. So you're all at a very, very good place. The college is doing so much for you. And so my, request, a sincere request is, please don't skip these placement trainings. Uh, I know it can be intimidating in a lot of ways, but you need to face it. You need to take it very positively. You see another person throwing out answers over there, go home, practice. I mean, yeah, all of you are at home now. So practice. The only way that you can get out of this is by practicing. I know that, more than probably some people are very scared of aptitude. Some people are very scared of the actual face-to-face interview. So each of them has their roadblocks. But if the first problem is like, aptitude, I think the only way to get out is practice, practice, and practice. So, uh, you have I heard that the placements are starting in like 2-3 weeks. So this 6 months is the time you need to really put in hard work. At least if not hard work, do some consistent effort in trying to improve yourself. So understand that there are a lot of people, there are lakhs of engineering graduates coming out every year. So why should the company hire you? They have to see some skill in you, right? See, they're going to pay you so much money at the end of the month. So why will they do that if you are not going to show what you are good at, right? So please be very patient and trust this process, and it is going to help you. So from my side, this is just to start off. Like from my side, I just want to cover on how you can prepare better for this placement process, and also I would like to highlight on why you guys need to concentrate a bit more on coding and programming languages. And probably in the end, I would like to talk, probably spend 5 minutes on what the industry actually expects out of fresh graduates entering their company. So to start off, I think the first step that I would say in preparing for your placement is learning one programming language. And I know the first question that all of you will come up now is, I am an EC student. Why should I learn programming? I have studied all the complicated subjects for 3 years of my life now. So I am not a CS grad who needs to do only coding assignments, because I will not be doing a web development or anything in the later stage of life. But that is not at all true in any sense. So when I say learn a programming language, understand that why you learn programming language is because of problem solving. So as an engineer, whether you're CS or EC or anything, the first quality that we or anybody else out there look for is problem solving. So as an engineer, you're expected to solve problems on a day-to-day basis, and how you will solve them is only by having a hold on one of the programming languages. I'm not saying go learn everything, C, C++, Java, Python, whatever the language that is out there. I will just say master one programming language, and that is very, very important. Yes, probably, you will get through the interview in like 2-3 weeks, but the major part is also about how you will sustain later in the company, right? It's very easy to kind of get through the interview and then you will go there, but what you will do later is also important. It's not just you will definitely pass the first step, but how you will survive and how you will improve and how you'll shape a career for yourself is dependent on your skills and nothing else. So if you're saying being an what is that, EC engineer, I have good hold on my theory, I have good hold on my subject, but how will you apply them, right? So you can't go and apply your theory in a company. So you need a means of expressing your knowledge, and that is only out of coding and I would say like just application of all of these. So I know, like broadly, if you can classify the EC subjects, I think you have analog electronics, digital electronics, communication, you have DSP, you have control systems, and a lot of them. But except for analog, where they use these tools which is needed to kind of do the calibrations and all of that, of them needs programming. So if you go to digital electronics, right? So mainly you need Verilog and you need System C. That is what they use in the VLSI industry today. And then if you go to communications, all of the systems are heavily built on programming. So all of them are done using C. So now if you talk about DSP, so DSP is everything you do in DSP is through MATLAB. I know you might be very good with your mathematical equations. You might be very good with your knowledge of them, but how will you apply them? You do it only through a programming platform, right? So and yeah, this is just my to give an intro on what are the things that you need to be concentrating on. So next is, I think a lot of times we do not concentrate on data structures and algorithms. So this is also something that I would say you need to, as much as possible. I know it's not possible to completely study a subject. I don't know if data structures is a part of ECE now. Is it a part of ECE? To the subjects? Somebody can
Yeah,
give
it
me.
is provided as an elective.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's good. So if you have that, then I think that's a good way to build up your skills, because data structures is something that is used everywhere. So another thing is, you might not be interviewing only for the EC companies, right? You might be interviewing for all the mass recruiters. Mass recruiters, they will not really test only on your EC skills. They will definitely ask you programming skills. So this is what is needed. And then also, yeah, you have to brush up on your theory, which is, I think you guys know the best. You have done all the subjects in your coursework, so that is very important. And in the last, I think this is what I have to tell you, because your interviews are in like 3 weeks to go. So, you know how I used to prepare? I used to have a book where I used to write down all of these expected questions, or, like, or the section. So basically, if in aptitude, I think there is quants, there's logical reasoning, there's English. So I would write down what are the expected questions, or rather the kind of questions, and prepare on them. So one is that. And then if you talk about technical interviews, now there is YouTube, there is Google, you get every material out there. Don't rely on your textbooks at this point of time. Go watch videos, make your concepts very clear, and there are number of portals that will help you do this, and there are these competitive coding websites. So I think they're called as Hacker Rank, Hacker Earth, and Top Coder. These are some of the things that I could find, like, which is relevant as of today. So please go practice your questions there, and even otherwise the technical questions. I'm sure you have a lot of mock interviews that people are giving. So take just like how you prepare for your exam, like last 2 days you put everything out there to kind of revise, right? So in the same way, I think you should just put a dump of all of these in your book, or make a doc that you can refer to before you enter your placement process. So this is what I would say from my side that is going to help. Other than that, go with confidence. I'm sure you're going to kill it. So this is something that I wanted to talk in the first part. But as the second part, once you finish the interview process, like when the first company happens, a lot of you will get placed, a lot of you will not get placed. A lot of you will probably get out in the aptitude round itself, and you will be demotivated. And these are all the realities that is going to come. It's not something that I'm making up. It is something that we've all gone through. And, there'll be a division in the class itself saying, you got placed, I didn't get placed. And you probably start not talking to your friends, or start kind of avoiding them because they're placed, you're not placed. But that's not the attitude that you have to carry. If somebody else out there is placed, ask them what worked for them and what didn't work for you. And especially because I'm telling all this, all of you are in a virtual environment. You guys are not going to college. You will not be facing anybody on a day-to-day basis. It becomes even more difficult. And all of us are going through the pandemic. There's a lot of negativity outside. The last thing you want to put yourself through is this demotivation along the process. If you're doing that, there's nothing that can save you. Failure is the stepping stone of success. I know I will tell this, a lot of people out there tell this to you, but this is the truth. And your failures will not end here. Your failures will continue even after you join your job, even after you start having a career graph. The career graph can go up or down. The only way to bring yourself out in this is resilience. So you need to come back. So just not passing an interview or is not the end of life. There are many more challenges in your life. And it's not one company. At least in RNSIT, I think after your mass recruiters, you have a lot of companies coming in. At least I have seen that there are people who don't get into mass recruiters, but they end up getting into the core companies. And that's a positive sign, right? Like, because you learn so much from your failures. You go on and on, you practice a lot, and then you come back stronger, and then you make into the best of the companies. So that is what is the attitude that I would expect, or probably request you to keep going forward. I know these are the things that your teachers tell you day in and day out, but you might feel that your teachers are just telling it for the sake of it. Know that they're not telling it for the sake of it. They're telling it out of their experience. 6 years back, even probably, I would think that no, teachers tell this because they have to tell this. But now, having gone through all the ups and downs after college, I can tell you that this is what is life, and this is how you have to move forward. So, and one more thing is, there might be a lot of you who might be disappointed or depressed about this whole process. I would say, please reach out to the teachers in your department. They will be the best guide. They will identify where you're going wrong and what you're doing. And that's the best way to improve yourself. I know a lot of you will have this hesitation that what will the teacher think about me if I go and ask, and what she will have an opinion about, he or she will have an opinion about me. They might reduce my internal marks. See, all these things are very, very common. It's the student psychology that all of us have been through, but they are not there to judge you. Understand that they are there to help you out. And only when you reach out for help will you get help. If you're going to stay in your own circle and not reaching out to them, the loss is yours. It's not theirs. Okay. So if I have to tell you the truth, yeah, see, if you think that, this teacher scolds you in the class and that's why you don't want to reach out to them. So that's only that momentary thing that happens. So if you ask me, I used to be a very, very talkative person in college. You can ask all the teachers how they used to blast us in class. And there have been instances where we've been kicked out of the class. But today, like, none of that matters. We are in such a good, cordial relationship that it's just at that point of time that class or that momentary reaction that comes out of teachers and nothing else. So please reach out to them for any help. And like, yeah, you can reach out to me also. Like, I will share my LinkedIn profile. I will share my email ID. Any queries you have regarding placement or how you want to prepare, or you, if you have a specific company in mind that you want to crack. So I will try my level best to give you my inputs on it, and if it's going to help you, I'll be more than happy to help. So I think we're running out of time. I have one last topic to cover, and that is, what is it that industry expects out of you when you graduate, right? When you go as freshers. I'm sure a lot of companies do this program called as campus to corporate, where they will tell you all these things. But this is something that I am talking out of my personal experience, and I've not written it down from any of the, you know, online material. This is purely based on my experience. So first thing is attitude. So when you go to when you join a team, when you meet the manager, when you go talk to your teammates, I know a lot of you are toppers here. You might be doing best of the best projects. You might have done a lot of things which probably in the industry also they would have not done. But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter when you go out to a team, because they don't care. All they care is how good learner you are. So, you know how they see freshers as? They see a fresher. This is what I was told also. They see a fresher as a clean slate where they can write whatever they want. So that is the attitude that they expect. And as soon as you go with this attitude, I'm sure your career growth and your graph will only be upwards, and you'll never look back. And this is what I have been told by my seniors. This is what I have personally experienced. And honestly, this is what I expect out of my juniors today. Like, if there's an intern coming to the team, or if there's a new fresher who's been hired, this is what I expect. I really don't go look back at their academic records or what they've done in their college. Very good. I mean, honestly speaking, I would say that you are here because of all of that. You wouldn't be here if you're not done good in your college, right? So you're here because you have done all of that. But from here, the path forward is what you write for yourself. You can't dwell in your past. Okay. And next thing is, you all have 1 year to go before you enter your companies after you get placed. Please work on your communication. And if you're not able to talk, if you're not able to communicate what you feel, or if you're not able to put your ideas in front of somebody else, it's the biggest disadvantage. No matter how good you are technically, no how good you are with your day-to-day work, nobody is going to take you, because take you as in take you seriously in the team, because you need to sell your idea day in and day out. And this is what they tell us even till today. Like, today, if I'm not able to explain myself in front of the other teams or in front of my stakeholders, my manager is going to come back to me and say, I don't care how good you are with your work, but if you can't express it, what will I do with you? Right? So that is very, very important. Uh, Please work on your communications. And I even came for the project open house for 7th Sem students just a month ago. And I even told them that how you should be preparing your slides, and how you should, uh, present yourself in front of others. I think if we can do that some other time, maybe I can give a session on that. But that is very important. And one more thing is, pick every opportunity that comes in front of you. That is very true even in your college days, in your final year. Pick any internship that is coming in front of you. Don't leave opportunities. Don't do this mistake of self doubt. This is something all of us suffer from. We all feel that I'm not good enough, but there's nothing called as I'm not good enough. Once you go in and put your efforts, I'm sure everything is possible from everybody. It's not that that person is good in studies, that person is good in talking. Yeah, so you need to know your shortcomings and work on it, and then everybody is good enough for everything. So pick opportunities that comes in your way. and ask questions. Be inquisitive. Wherever you go in class or in the office later on, ask questions. Until and unless you ask questions, nobody is going to answer them for you. Keep your ego aside. Say that I don't know. Accept that you don't know. And this is the attitude I probably would say you need to take in the interview also. Don't bluff. Don't say things that you don't know as you know, because that's not what the interviewer wants. Accept your mistakes. Say, I have not learned this, or I've not prepared for this, but I know something else that I can do better. There are times that the interviewers actually ask, so what are you good at? I will ask you questions from that. So take opportunity there and make the best out of that. So that's where I mean, when you say pick opportunity, it can be picking up a task, picking up picking the opportunity of that moment or anything else. And one more thing is, lastly, ethics. So this is something that all the companies out there appreciate or take it very seriously. So every year we need to do this training called as code of conduct. So it doesn't matter how good you are technically, how good you are as an employee, but if your ethics are wrong, they will throw you out of the office, even without thinking twice. And I can give this in writing that this is how all the companies function. So I would say ethics is something that you develop. Uh, it's a habit that you build up, and it's a value system that you put to yourself. Start with simple things like not copying in your exams, not copying in your internals. I know it's all online. It's very easy for you to copy, do small cheating. That happens. I know that it happens, and people do it. But I would say avoid it. Now you're in the final year of college. Whatever you have done is in the past. You've done it before. All said and done, it's fine. But now when you're going ahead, try not to do this, because it does all these things doesn't it's a change that doesn't happen overnight. It is something that you need to build in yourself and later apply it in your life. So start with simple things like not trying to copy assignments, not trying to copy in internals, and that is where you kind of build on these things, and this is where you also develop the uh, value of honesty. So when you're honest, it might be difficult. Yes, being honest is very difficult, but if you pick this up for yourself, trust me, you'll go a long, long way in life. And this is something that I have personally learned from my experiences, and I'm telling because okay, if I have to share my own this thing, all of you will think, right, like, okay, today I'm in Intel, today I'm doing good, I'm doing reasonably good and all of that. But this same team, when I had to interview initially, right, so I had like 3 rounds of interview, and the first round went well, but the second round was technical, and they grilled me left, right, center in C. And I was okay, I was good with C, but I was not extraordinary with C. So, but I came out of the interview crying, because in the end I was not able to take that pressure, because it was too much for me to handle on that particular day. And I thought that it's done, like the interview is done and I will not get another chance. But I don't know what the manager felt like. Of course, the technical interview was taken by another person. The manager called me and he said, I need to talk to you. And we spoke. We had a long, had 1 hour of discussion. So he asked me why I left my job, why I did MTech, all of that. And I just gave him honest answers to everything. And I told him that I did. So he asked me, how was your technical interview? I told him upfront that I did not do well. So I said, I did not do well. I don't think I will even make it through this. But I'm just telling you the truth that if you give me an opportunity, I will definitely go ahead and, learn and do good for the team. So So at that point, he said, yeah, I know that everybody is not good with interviews. You might be a wonderful co-worker later on, but you might not be good on that day, on that particular day of interview. So after that, that's all he said. And then later on, I got an offer and all of that. And later, when I went into the team and all of that, he said, Meera, the very reason I gave you this job is because you accepted your faults. You said you didn't do well in interview, and you said that you will learn. These are the only three things I saw, and I gave you a job in this team. It's a very competitive team. I hope you're able to survive. If you can't survive in 1 year, you are very free to walk away from this team. So this is the, but I'm still here. I'm still trying to do good work, trying to keep up this attitude to grow every day and learn every day, and follow all the ethics, honesty, attitude, good attitude, everything. And this is what, trust me, everybody does to survive. And yeah, this is my just a small personal experience. But yeah, I think we are running out of time. I don't want to bore you guys anymore. So I would just like to take probably some questions for 5 minutes, if I can answer anything. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Meera, for taking your valuable time and sharing your experience and then encouraging our students. Guys, if you are having any questions, you can ask Ms. Meera.
Yeah, either you can unmute yourself or you can probably type it out in the chat box. I'll be very happy to, not just about placement. You can ask me anything, like literally anything that you want to know.
Guys, there is
or
an
probably
announcement.
I think
Just a minute, Meera. There's an announcement.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
Yeah, since we have received a mail regarding Accenture, we have the time to fill the registration forms. Okay, so I think there is some procedure to be followed, because in the mail it is told that whoever has already filled the details, that will not be considered. We have to freshly fill it again. So today 2 to 5 p.m. Okay, so all of you will be doing that. Okay, so we will inform you about how to move on. One of the student coordinator can fill the form. Okay, so again, in consent with Alina ma'am as well as myself. Okay, so we will give the guidance. So you can fill the form and you can record it. Okay, so via the Zoom platform, so that we can share the recorded video to the other students. So by looking at what is the options that they are filling, so you guys have to fill it probably. Okay, so we will intimate you via your student coordinators. Okay, right? So 2 to 5 you will be busy today doing this work. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Meera.
Thank you.
Yes, guys, if you are having any questions, you can mention in the chat sections, or you can unmute and speak out.
Yeah, so I see one question in the chat box, which says, how was your experience while going through Bosch recruitment? Bosch was a good experience. I think it was very similar. We had the aptitude round, and once we cleared out of it, and then we had the technical interview. We didn't have something like GD and all. So the technical interview was, see, it depends on whom you get as your interviewer. Sometimes your luck plays a role. So a lot of my friends got very, easy interview. They were just out in 15 minutes. So I think I had a little tough experience where I was kind of, grilled for like 40 minutes. But it was not as tough as I would say. Regular questions. He asked me a lot of electronics questions, honestly. I like that's so much how much I can remember, because it was 6 years ago and I don't remember the entire details of it. But it was good, and I think first 5 to 10 minutes I was nervous, but after that it becomes a conversation between the interviewer and you. So it shouldn't be like somebody is taking your exam out there. So you also can ask questions to the interviewer about how Bosch is or whatever. But it was a great experience and nothing to, be scared of or anything. I think Bosch will come later, right? First, you will have these mass recruiters. So, yeah, you should be good. Just speak with confidence, and I'm sure it'll work out. Any other question that you have regarding placement, or if you have some company in mind that you want to, target at, or if you don't want to bring this up here, you can always reach out to me. I'll just leave my LinkedIn name here. Okay, I think it just went to one person. Okay, I have another question. I didn't prepare for any competitive exam, but I'm not serious about the reality and started preparing myself. I know it's late, but yeah, still how to carry out, and is it possible to crack the placement? Okay. Preparing for competitive exams is not necessary for you to crack placements. You can just prepare to crack placement, and you have a lot of time. If you sit and prepare properly, I would say 1 week is enough for you to just revise everything, for you to just quickly run through all the topics and I told you, right, just have that last minute something, that a note of what you can refer, what you can quickly prepare and go into your placements, and give it a shot. Like, even if you don't crack the first few companies, like what is that day one sharing, if you're not able to crack, so what, there are other companies that is coming in. You have more time, you have an entire 6 month period for you to prepare. So you're more experienced than the others when you start writing a lot of tests and a lot of this thing. And you never know when you crack it, when your day will comes and when you will crack it. But don't be in this doubt that I have not prepared till now, so I will not give placements. That's the worst attitude that I can say. Any interview, any placement, just go and write, give your best, and just leave it to, if you believe in God, leave it to God. If you believe in luck, leave it to luck. Whatever works for you. So, okay, there's one more question as to what are the subjects to be prepared for core companies. So what are the core companies that is you are targeting at? When you mean core companies, do you mean Bosch, or I think there's Sankalp Semiconductors, all of these coming still now. So, okay, it says Bosch. So,
Yeah,
Bosch might not be.
Sorry to interrupt you, Ms. Meera.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, Sankalp will be visiting to our campus during even semester.
Okay. Yeah. So, if it is like core, as in core VLSI companies, I think what you have to prepare is on Verilog and basics of VLSI. I think there is a subject on VLSI and all of the chip process, and I think that should be good. And on programming, I think Verilog is something which is very widely asked in the semiconductor companies. And also, I would like to mention that a lot of VLSI startups are hiring, and they do put out posts on LinkedIn. Be active, because I know a lot of you want to really get into core companies, and it might be very difficult to get into the big companies like Qualcomm, Intel, Nvidia, all of that right out of your college. That is immediately out of engineering. But definitely, I know people who have worked in very small companies initially and switched within 2 or 3 years to these big companies, and you're doing very good. So just look out for these jobs that they put out on LinkedIn, and you can definitely prepare for those small companies and give interviews apart from what college gives you. So specifically to prepare for Bosch, I think uh, I think they concentrate more on Bosch concentrates on the embedded space. So they have more opportunities also in the embedded space. So I think C is something very widely asked in Bosch interviews. You should be good with C, and I think uh, general questions on digital electronics and embedded systems, basically, as to they might ask you microcontrollers, they might ask you some architecture related questions, like basics, like something like because I come from the embedded space, the things that we ask is majorly on the the reset vector, or how is your memory, and things like that. So I think if I go on, I can just go on and on. So yeah, if you really want to talk to me, you can ping me on LinkedIn. I will give you my inputs, because there's another question. When it comes to attending technical round of some IT company and being an EC student, what questions can we expect from them, like in ECA or CS side? Okay, so honestly speaking, I have not attended too many of the IT company interviews. So the first company that I attended was Aricent, and somehow luckily I got placed in it. Aricent also was more on the, they asked questions based on electronics, but they also asked me questions on C++. So I think a lot of companies that I have heard of ask questions on C++ because it's an object-oriented programming. Or even otherwise, if they ask you questions, I think they ask you to write pseudocode, even if you don't know the exact syntax, or actually they should not be even expecting you to write in the right syntax, because until and unless you compile your code, you won't even know what this thing. So be good with pseudocode. And just one programming language, like I told before. C is very good to have, and one object oriented. For I think CS companies, I think they expect object oriented programming. And also, I forgot to tell about this. I would say be good with some scripting language if you can, like Python, Perl. So VLSI companies use a lot of Perl. So they still do a lot of automations on Perl. And Shell. Shell is like, I know it's too old, but do with Shell. And also one input is you have 1 year to go. Please try to work on Linux environment. I think lab has access to it, or try to take the Ubuntu from somewhere, or it's freely available also. Try practicing Linux commands, and it'll help you later on to survive. Like most of the places they use Linux. If you are in core companies, that is. Otherwise, yeah, I think they use Windows, but Linux is a good topic to learn. So I think there's one more question called as, what are all the topics which will be asked for GD? Honestly, I've not attended any GD till now, because I don't know if many companies have GD. But I would say more than topics, it's about how you put yourself out there. Be assertive, put your points, have good communication, and don't talk nonsense. That's all is enough for GD. More than topics, I think it'll all be very simple topics that you can definitely talk about, but it's the confidence and how you speak is what that matters. So I think that would be my input on GD. So any more questions? Or I think if we are running out of time, we can close the session. However.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Meera. From Department of ECE, we wholeheartedly thank Ms. Meera for taking her valuable time to address our students and sharing her views on how to face the interviews and how to prepare for the placements. Thank you, Ms. Meera, once again.
Thank you so much. I think I'm really, really thankful for giving me this opportunity, and special thanks to Leena ma'am for reaching out to me and helping me even tell what I have to be addressing on. I'm very happy that I'm seeing a lot of chats, saying a lot of them are saying it boosted my confidence and it helped me. I'm very happy that it is helping someone, or if it's going to boost your confidence, or if it has even made little difference in your thought and approach towards placement. So yeah, I think they're asking my email ID. I'm just typing it out. Okay, I'm just giving my LinkedIn name and my email ID. Oh, okay, I don't know why it's just going to one person. Let me.
Yeah, you will have to select everyone, the two options.
Yeah, I just selected them.
Yeah, now we can
Yeah,
see
I
it.
think.
Yeah.
Yes, and before we close,
Yeah.
Meera, I must tell you, your energy is very, very contagious. And I'm very happy that some of the students have opened up, though they have sent you personal questions, as in they have sent
Yeah.
you the questions personally
Yeah.
to you. They have
Yeah.
not sent it in the forum, which is absolutely fine. Okay, but I request all of you to come out of this, I don't know what is stopping you to post the questions in the forum, but that's absolutely fine. But I think you should be more open. There is nothing to fear. We are all here to help each other. Okay, and I must tell you, all of you are capable of achieving much more. Okay, so the interview process is just a process, a natural process which we have to undergo, right? So all the very, very best to you. And Meera had promised to wind up at 9:45, but looks like she has short the time, right, to 10 a.m.
No, totally
10:05.
okay. I think it's all fine. I can work. I can start working a bit late, but I think if it's, I mean, I was happy that people are coming up and posting questions, and they're. I see that people are saying thank you so much. I can relate to all the questions and the scenarios that I mentioned. See, this is the reason I didn't want to put up a slide and give. Give like a speech. I was not here to do that. I was just here to share my personal experiences and my perspective about this whole process. I hope it helps. And yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Meera. Good day to you. We'll not keep you long here. So good day to you. Good day to all. Have a fabulous day.
Yes. Thank you so much, and wishing you all the very best. I hope you all achieve great success in your placement interviews. And also for people who are going out to study abroad or within India, wishing you the best. I think you guys must be preparing for GATE, GRE, GMAT, whatnot, and wishing you the best for everything. And I hope all of you have a great career ahead. Thank you so much.